All right, so we're back to me reacting to my first fan fiction. This thing that I wrote back in 2003 when I was a wide eyed, innocent 15-year-old who had no idea what she was doing instead of a cynical 32, almost 33-year-old who still has no idea what she's doing. But anyway, we're in the middle of chapter one when we left off with this thing. And this is something that I had posted, like I said, 2003, 18 years ago. And it's Harry Potter and the Curse of the G word. We're not going to say the word. It's kind of a not so great word to use. And we're in the middle of chapter one. He distinctly remembered quite a few too many. We're talking about Aunt Petunia is going to be sending Harry to Mrs. Figg's while Dudley's girlfriend is coming over to visit. He distinctly remembered quite a few too many cats and the faint smell of cabbage that seemed to follow him wherever he went. Mrs. Figg herself was nice enough, he guessed, though she was a bit cat-obsessed, and delighted in showing pictures of her babies to anybody who would pay attention for more than a few minutes. No, I most certainly am not. Aunt Petunia was shaking her head, glaring at Harry. And I don't want you causing trouble, boy. None of that nonsense of yours. And what nonsense would that be? Harry bit back, chafed. Do you mean mad? He paused, a faint grin on his face when Aunt Petunia took a harsh step back. Oh, sorry about that, he muttered unconvincingly. Well, she sighed. Well, all right, things are almost done here. Go get a good pair of gloves and go on over before she has to call me. I'll be watching, she added, her voice ominous. Of course, aren't people always watching me? He groaned as Aunt Petunia pointed her finger and retrieved a pair of gloves from the shed. Again, this is a little further on, but Harry is still being a bit mouthier than you would expect around the Dursleys. Um, I mean, he did talk back to them and stuff, but it was never this just mouthy teenager kind of back talk, sort of thing. This just sounds like a whiny teenager talking to their parents, not Harry being Harry. He passed through the house, making sure to shake a little dirt from the garden out on the newly cleaned rug before he exited and paused at the street looking at Mrs. Figg's house. It was brightly painted, Harry noticed, much more colorful than most Muggle houses. He crossed the street and knocked at the door. Mrs. Figg answered, smiling. Why, hello, Harry. It has been a while, hasn't it? He looked up at her, nodding faintly. Surprisingly, she didn't look quite as old as he had remembered. He guessed it was because when he was 11 she had seemed quite ancient indeed. But now, as he looked closer, he saw she couldn't have been older than the Transfiguration teacher McGonagall. Her hair, though silver, was still streaked with gold, and her eyes twinkled dark brown. Didn't she used to wear glasses? Harry thought to himself, slightly surprised. However, he didn't stop to think about this too much. What with the dream and the morning confrontation with the Dursleys, he was in no mood to talk. He supposed that getting his hands busy might stave away the boredom. What do you need done, Mrs. Figg? He asked, smiling at her. Oh, not much, really. Why don't you come and have a cup of tea first, dear? I've just made some warm cookies. She grabbed him by the arm with her surprisingly strong grasp. Well, come on, don't be shy. She sat him down and began bustling about, all the while chatting. Harry, I know I haven't seen you lately, but I must say you are becoming quite the young man. Handsome, really. I am glad to see the Dursleys over there haven't gotten you down. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind Petunia, but she does favor that son Douglas of hers. Harry sipped at his tea and began glancing around the room. Though a few cats were running about the floor, he didn't see that many. He asked her about this. Oh, yes, my kitties. I love them all, you know. They are a lot of work. And what with the fact that I just got a new job and can't take them with me, well, I can't really leave them alone. I won't even be back until the summer, you understand. She began rambling once more, and despite himself, Harry began to chuckle softly. Deciding to cut her a break, he'd listen to her talk as he bit into a surprisingly good chocolate chip cookie. So you understand, I didn't think I should stay here any longer. Too many things going on, you see, and can't really remain idle that long. Oh, it isn't like I haven't been doing anything. The library I've done a lot, but I think I could be more helpful, what with Voldemort and all. Harry smiled up at her, and froze, and stared. Finally he stammered. Did you say Voldemort? He asked, his eyes open wide. Well, yes, I, like Albus, agree that not saying his name only makes him more frightening than he already is. Harry stared. You know about Voldemort, he stated in disbelief. Well, of course, why not? I am a witch, aren't I? She chortled, putting more sweets on Harry's plate. You're not a muggle? He stood, staring at her. He obviously didn't get all those hints that I just dropped leading up to this. Why, what made you think that? After a moment she glanced at Harry. But I thought for sure Albus did tell you, didn't he? I've been here protecting you, and you know I am your guardian. Well, except for legally the Dursleys, you know, and your godfather, Sirius. Now, this is the first instance in this fan fiction of kind of the old school, just kind of god moding and dropping a character in that I didn't create in this case. I did not create Mrs. Fig. J.K. Rowling created Miss Fig, but this was before she had done anything with her. She was just a name in the book, and I swooped in and decided what I was going to do with her. And I have just magically decided that Miss Fig is this character that obviously knows everything and has been protecting Harry and knows all this stuff and apparently is not afraid to say Voldy's name. And oh boy, it's yeah, she's just kind of yeah. Anyway. You know about Sirius? He said loudly, looking at her. She grimaced and rubbed at her ears. No need to shout, Harry, she stated. I can hear you well enough. She smiled at him after a moment. I didn't mean to alarm you, dear. I just thought you would know about me. No wonder you seemed so unenthusiastic to see me at first. I thought you just didn't like me. She smiled as Harry opened his mouth to protest. Don't, Harry. I don't think that it is time to introduce myself. My name is Bella. She smiled at him, and I am, of course, a witch. Yes, of course. Harry frowned as the name struck a chord. Bella. Suddenly he smiled. Arabella Fig, the old crowd? She smiled at him. Yes, Harry, although I don't know why Albus insists on calling us old. Why, I'm only 88, and Mundungus Fletcher only just had his 90th birthday. She preened. Of course, Raymond and Sirius are 37, but that is neither here nor there. Oh, yes, Harry bit into a piece of cookie and drank a sip of tea. Suddenly a thought occurred to him. Mrs. Fig, you know the Weasleys. She smiled at him. Of course, Arthur and Molly are the sweetest couple I know. Those twins are a handful, though. Harry grinned. For Fred and George, this was an understatement. Again, apparently, Mrs. Fig has been watching over him this whole time, and she's good friends with the Weasleys, and somehow it has never come up at all that she bad baby Meg. Minus 2 points. For you. Anyway, well, Dumbledore said I could go to the Burrow as soon as it was safe. Do you know when that might be? He paused, looking hopefully. I dropped a word. Well, you'll just have to see, won't you? Harry couldn't get much more of an answer than that. As promised, Mrs. Fig had work for him to do. In between packing up quite a few mysterious items from the attic and basement, but she recognized many to be magical items, and helping her look through dozens of hidden passages for things she'd hidden and forgotten to look for, he talked to her often about his parents. Lily and James were such a sweet young couple. Lily, Harry, was just about the most beautiful bride I think I ever saw. I used to babysit right after you were born, you know. She smiled at him. And a handsome young lad you were, boy. Harry blushed, looking out the window and scowling as he saw a large black car pull up. Mrs. Figg glanced after him. Moira clambered out, her large feet hitting the pavement. The car visibly rocked back into place as bad baby meant bad little girl. As she ran forward to kiss Dudley on the cheek. Her father and mother smiled and shook hands with Harry's aunt and uncle. My, what a horrid girl, do you see the way she is talking to your aunt and uncle? I don't want to think about it, I might get sick. Harry blanched, but Mrs. Figg said nothing. She appeared not to have noticed. I did try to kind of throw in a little something about her behaving badly, but also I can't see Petunia and Vernon putting up with any. Well, I typically wouldn't see them putting up with any girl acting like a jerk to them, except I did say that she's the daughter of the headmaster or something like that. So I guess that they would put up with her for that reason, although I guess I would need to kind of expand on that maybe a little bit. Make it clear that that's the reason they're putting up with it somehow. Because it is a little out of character for them to... I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking too much, but just it strikes me as a little out of character for Petunia and Vernon to put up with that, for this girl to be being nasty to them, and for that to be the bad behavior that she's showing. Because it's more in character for this nasty girl to be nasty to someone like Harry, and to be all like sweetness and niceness and fake to Petunia and Vernon. Anyway, I don't know. That's just me thinking through what I would do now. And let's move on. I'm overthinking this Harry Potter fan fiction I wrote when I was 15. They went back to work. By 3 he had done everything, but Mrs. Figg had invited him to stay since the Dursleys didn't expect him until 5. As they sat talking, Harry felt a small gust of air at his neck. He turned to see 2 owls, one stately and regal, poised with dignity, the other a small gray bundle of feathers that flitted about the room, hooting shrilly. Though tempted to take Ron's letter first, he saw the annoyance and took pity on the larger owl. It was heavy. The owl nipped at his finger and thanks before it fluttered away. Harry saw the Hogwarts seal and frowned. It was much too early to be getting his school letter. What is it, dear? She said, is that your school letter? A little bit of a repetition there that I would need to fix. That's a bit obnoxious. I don't know, I guess, but I never thought that they sent them this early. He accepted the knife she handed him and slit him open. That's a little overkill. If she's going to be handing him a knife, I would need to kind of expand on that. Kind of make a point of the overkill. I don't know. Just ignore me. I'm just, it's just the overkill if she's just handing him a knife. Something hard fell into his palm. He gaped at it in disbelief and slowly turned to the letter. Mr. H. Potter, we are glad to inform you that you have been accepted as one of 2 new prefects for Gryffindor House. Mrs. Hermione Granger has been accepted as the other. It's way too, info dump here. When I could have, made a big deal of revealing that info later. And why did I have to reveal it in this letter? It would have so much more of an impact to have the reveal that Hermione's the other prefect. And instead, I just info dump in this letter he gets. That's annoying. Ick. Anyway, please report to Cabin 28 on the Hogwarts Express in September 1st for further instruction. I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer and will be pleased to see you for a wonderful new year. Enclosed is your badge. Wear it with pride. Professor M. McGonagall, Head Gryffindor House, Deputy Headmistress. I don't believe it, he muttered. You're right, Harry. You shouldn't believe it, because in canon you never became a prefect, and for good reason. It is because you are a little troublemaker, and you are way too busy trying to save the wizarding world to be corralling students. And so saying, he looked down into his palm at his new prefect badge. It shone brilliant silver, and the engraving of an incredible lion shone behind the words. Oh, Harry, Mrs. Figg smiled. Your parents. I am this proud. I can imagine how they would feel. She wiped a tear from her eye. Anyway, I'm not one to celebrate with. Open your other letter. He looked at her strangely and slid it open. He pulled out a piece of parchment on which was written in Ron's untidy scrawl, Hold on! He glanced at Miss Figg for a moment before feeling a pulling at his navel, and he was flying forward, and forward until he fell into somebody's arms. He looked up and grinned widely. Professor Lupin! It was a portkey in the envelope. Surprise, shocker. And it has just transported him. It's actually a fun little idea there, although it does, I will say, I think speed the story up a little too much. But I guess 15-year-old me just wanted to get things moving, which I think is evidenced in a few things. The fact that I just dropped that info about Hermione being the other prefect, and then I don't know, it's kind of annoying. I had all this stuff with Dudley's girlfriend that could have been interesting if I did more info with it, did more stuff with it, and all this, but then I just dropped this portkey in and got him out of the situation anyway. I mean, it's not a bad idea, but it's just way too fast. Well, anyway, that was the end of chapter 1. And I've got a final little author's note at the end here. Here's a little note from 15-year-old Meg. Hello, I hope this isn't too short. It was not too short at all, 15-year-old Meg. It was actually pretty damn long. I'm just getting the action started and I had to set the mood. So, Remus will definitely be in this fanfic, as will many other characters that we all know and love. I hope you review. Criticism is okay, but please don't be mean. Loves ya, wink. She was a little sweetheart, just a little baby who didn't know what she was getting herself into. This wild world of writing. Anyway, that was fun, and I'll be doing some more of these chapters. If you watched this, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my reactions. Thank you. Bye.